Imagine you're floating in the void. Absolute darkness surrounds you, and somewhere ahead, something glows. Enormous, striped, almost alive. You stare at it and it looks beautiful, like a painting the universe made for itself. You drift closer, and that's the moment you make the greatest mistake in the history of humanity. Jupiter has already felt you. From a distance, it looks almost harmless. A massive sphere of cream and terracotta, wrapped in bands of clouds like something from the cover of a children's book about space. The Great Red Spot, the legendary storm that has existed for over 300 years, looks like a beautiful swirl. Artistic, almost calming. When Voyager 1 flew past in 1979, it sent back images of such breathtaking beauty that scientists went silent. They stared at the photographs and couldn't find words. Jupiter looked like a masterpiece. But here's the problem. What you're mistaking for beauty is the surface of a monster. And that monster is hungry. Let's start with the most obvious thing: size. Jupiter is so large that 1,300 Earth-sized planets could fit inside it. 1,300. If Jupiter were hollow, you could stuff it with our worlds like candy in a box and still have room left over. Its mass is 2.5 times greater than the combined mass of every other planet in the solar system. It's not just big. It dominates everything around it. And here is where everything changes, because that kind of mass isn't just a number. It's gravity. And gravity is invisible hands reaching for you long before you have time to understand what's happening. As you begin to approach Jupiter, you'd feel the pull, barely noticeable at first, then stronger. Then you'd realize you no longer control your direction. Your ship, if you have one, would begin to accelerate, slowly, inevitably, as if the planet simply decided you belong to it now. But it gets worse. Jupiter's clouds are not the kind you watch drift across a summer sky back home. The upper atmosphere is made of ammonia crystals. Temperature there, negative 140 degrees Celsius. You would freeze before you could process what was happening. Every breath, if you could breathe, would flood your lungs with toxic gas that would dissolve them from the inside in seconds. But you wouldn't get the chance to breathe, because deeper down, something else begins. As you sink through the clouds, pressure starts to build. Not gradually, violently. At a depth of roughly 1,000 kilometers, the pressure reaches a point where your body, any body, simply ceases to exist in the form it once had. Atoms compress. Structures collapse. You wouldn't be crushed. You'd be erased. As if the universe pressed the delete button. The Galileo probe was deliberately sent into Jupiter's atmosphere in 1995. Scientists knew it would die. They just wanted to know how long it would last and what it could transmit before the end. It survived for about an hour. Then the signal cut out. Gone. A piece of equipment worth billions of dollars designed by the greatest minds on Earth. Built specifically to withstand extreme conditions. Lasted 60 minutes. You wouldn't last 60 seconds. And here is where everything changes again. Because pressure and cold aren't even the main danger. Jupiter is not just a planet. It's a generator. The most powerful source of radiation in the solar system outside of the sun itself. Its magnetic field is 14 times stronger than Earth's, and it captures charged particles, electrons, protons, and accelerates them to speeds that turn the space around the planet into a death zone. This zone is called Jupiter's radiation belts. And if you find yourself nearby, not inside, just nearby, the radiation dose you'd absorb within a few hours would exceed the lethal threshold hundreds of times over. Your cells would begin to break apart. Your DNA would shred. Your brain would start to shut down, slowly or quickly. Depends on the distance. Io, one of Jupiter's moons, sits directly inside these belts. Scientists still debate how anything can exist there at all. Io's surface is bombarded by radiation every single second. Any biological life form there is simply impossible, because Jupiter doesn't allow it. But that's still not the worst part. The Great Red Spot. Remember, that beautiful swirl that looked artistic to you? It's a storm that has existed longer than our civilization in its current form. Its diameter is greater than 2 Earths placed side by side. Wind speeds inside exceed 500 kilometers per hour, constantly, without stopping. 300 years without stopping. If you found yourself at the edge of that storm, you'd feel something pulling you inward, slowly, almost gently, as if the planet were inviting you closer. And then you'd realize you couldn't stop. The vortex draws you in. You begin to spin. You accelerate. And at some point, you stop being yourself. You become just one more particle in a storm that existed long before you and will exist long after you are gone. But here's the real problem. We don't actually know what's at the center of Jupiter. In theory, there is a solid core, or a liquid one, or something so alien to the physics we understand that we still don't have words to describe it properly. Under pressure reaching tens of millions of atmospheres, hydrogen stops being a gas and becomes a metal. Liquid metallic hydrogen, a substance that doesn't exist anywhere on Earth, that we cannot create in any laboratory, that we can only observe from a distance and guess about. It's this metallic hydrogen that generates the magnetic field. It's what makes Jupiter what it is, and we have no idea what's truly happening inside. Not really. Our models are educated guesses, beautiful, mathematically elegant guesses. But guesses. Jupiter keeps a secret in its heart, and it has no intention of sharing it. There's something people rarely talk about. Jupiter doesn't just kill everything that comes close. It also protects us. For billions of years, its gravity has been pulling asteroids and comets toward itself, objects that otherwise would have traveled straight toward Earth. In 1994, comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 slammed into Jupiter with such force that the explosions were visible through telescopes from Earth. Each impact was the size of our planet, and Jupiter simply swallowed them, all of them, without a trace. It is a guardian and a devourer at the same time. Here's what stays with you when you think about this long enough. Jupiter has existed for 4.5 billion years. It watched the solar system being born. It watched Earth take shape. It watched life appear, somewhere out there, on a tiny blue dot it has never once noticed. It has swallowed thousands of objects. It has altered the orbits of planets. It has done all of this in silence, without asking permission, without acknowledging us. And it will keep doing this long after we are gone. We point telescopes at Jupiter and tell ourselves we're studying it. But maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's a mirror that shows us the truth about a universe we have spent so long refusing to accept. The universe was not made for us. It was made for things like Jupiter. And we are just an accident. A beautiful, fragile, temporary accident that once had the courage to lift its head and look at the stars.